All right, so I never usually respond to news this quickly. I usually take a little bit of time to percolate on it. However, the news coming out in the last few hours is so huge, I literally have no choice but to react to this immediately. Now, thankfully, this is not about some silly drama or handbags being thrown around, but actually some shocking fight news that has just been announced. So I'm just going to go ahead and get straight into this. Alright, so we woke up this morning to discover that Charles Oliveira is out of his bout with Islam Makhachev, which on its own is obviously devastating news. However, this was quickly remedied as we discovered that Alexander Volkanovski will be the one to step in and take his place. Now, I do have a few thoughts to share on this one. It will be a bit all over the place, so bear with me. Now, the first thing I want to address is obviously the injury itself. In fairness, the cut does look pretty serious, and there will be a lot of talk over the next 24 hours about how brain-dead stupid Charles is, and convenient this is, that sparring that hard the day before you're set to get on a flight for one of the biggest fights of your career is maybe one of the dumbest things you could do. Now, Charles Oliveira is going to cop a lot of flack for this. At best, he's going to be called a pussy, an idiot, a coward. Now, take my word on this, of course, things do happen. Considering the type of fighters he's been in there with in the past, I'm personally willing to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one. And the reality is, number one is that he's probably missed out on the biggest payday of his life. Number two, he's probably going to have to go through another contender again to get another shot at the belt. Now, on the plus side, this is a facial injury and nothing too serious. If this did happen 3 or 4 weeks before the fight was due to take place, it probably would have continued. So on the plus side, we can probably expect Charles back by the end of the year. Against who is anyone's guess. Although looking at the lightweight rankings, I would probably say that a fight with Mateusz Gamrot by the end of the year is probably the most likely thing now. Let me know what you think in the comments. One last thing I'd like to say on Charles is that while losing this fight is tragic and one I was really looking forward to be honest, based on the first fight, I didn't give him much of a chance anyway, so maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Now, directly off the back of this news, just as we were about to cry into our pillows, we then find out, as I aforementioned, that Alexander Volkanovski, apparently after one phone call, has agreed to step in on 9 days' notice to be the replacement fighter. Now, I've got so many thoughts on this once again, and again they're going to be all over the place. Firstly, what a savage. If you look at the banner of this very channel, I have a hand-drawn image of the fighters I consider to be the best in the modern era, and you will notice that Volkanovski has a very prominent place on my GOAT mountain. To take a fight of this nature at short notice, when he's probably going to have a murder of a weight cut, an insane travel schedule against a man that's had a long training camp for this very fight card for probably the better part of a year, underlines what a savage the man is. But also, while I've given a lot of shit to Islam, it has to be said that he deserves a bucket load of credit as well for actually agreeing to take this fight. Volk was the hardest fight of his career, so to take this on is just as badass in my opinion. Now, there's two questions of course to emerge from this one. We noticed on ideal circumstances we would have preferred for camps for both men preparing for each other, but two questions have to be asked. Firstly, and of course most obviously, who do you think wins the rematch? I picked Volkanovski in the first one and got absolutely massacred for it. It was actually one of my first prediction videos on this channel, and look what happened there. And secondly, what does it do for his status if he actually does put it off? Let me know in the comments below. Are you excited? Are you disappointed? Somehow, I'm personally even more excited given the circumstances. Now, I'm going to keep this going with even more fight news. It's been well documented at this point that Paulo Costa recently had elbow surgery. Looks damn gnarly, by the way, and is more than likely going to be pulled from his fight with Chimaev. Talk about a cursed card. Depends on your perspective, I guess. Now again, I honestly think the UFC kind of has their hands tied on this one. If they allow Costa to fight and he aggravates the injury, which let's be honest is highly likely, I mean come on, there's hatred here, and if you are Chimaev, are you not going straight for that arm? If I'm him, I'm personally booting the shit out of it immediately. I'd be headbutting it, I'd be doing all kinds of freaky shit to target that elbow. So on that note, it's highly likely that the UFC, for legal reasons, might have to kind of pull out of this one. Let's be honest, it won't be for moral reasons. What this means for Costa's career, who knows? I love the guy, but he's pulled out like a million times now. He's probably going to get rewarded with a killer lower down the rankings, who is probably going to beat the brakes off him. We are hearing rumors, though, that the last-minute replacement could actually be Robert Whittaker. Now, I'm a little bit conflicted on this one. Firstly, it's a better matchup, despite the fact that Whittaker got absolutely starched by Dricus. If the rumors are true, he should provide a much more stern test than Costa was likely to. Now, personally, Volkanovski can stand in at the last minute. I personally would like to see somebody like Israel Adesanya do the same thing, in what for me would have been a massive fight upgrade, and a true way for him to redeem himself. I mean, he takes that fight, what can we say about the guy? He loses the fight, what can we say about the guy? He's taken it at short notice, and I personally think it would have been a gamble worth taking for him. Personally, the rumors I don't think the Whittaker's going to fight is untrue, and I think that Chimaev's going to end up being handed some can. I mean, it always seems to happen for this guy. The chips always seem to fall in his favor, and it's a shame because even though I think he would have battered Costa, there were at least some stakes going into that fight. There was hatred, and now we get nothing. So I'm pretty disappointed on this one. Hopefully we'll see some movement on this one in the next few hours. Let me know in the comments who you would like to see Chimaev fight as a replacement. Alright, so in the last bit of fight news, we've obviously known for a little while that Curtis Blaydes is out of this fight with Almeida. Again, this one is about a month away though, and this one kind of surprises me. I mean, the fact that they've chosen Derek Lewis of all people to take this fight. Now, of course, Derek Lewis is an absolute savage for taking on the guy that is a seriously terrible stylistic matchup for him, but for me, the blame kind of falls on the UFC for this one. You literally have 4 or 5 contenders in and around that area that could have taken this fight. Now, I know Pavlovich is the backup fight for Jones. He would have been the ideal one for me, and the fact that he's been so, unvocal about getting a title shot, he could have been one to throw in there. So, because of that, as the backup, he's probably not the ideal option. But where's Tom Aspinall? Where's Cyril Gann? I'm starting to think that Derek Lewis is the only man in that division with actual balls. Now, Six-Pack Lewis could be the myth and legend that we've all been waiting for, and after the year we've had, and all the upsets, who's to say he doesn't go out there and smash Almeida with the first punch he throws in the fight? Would any of us be surprised? Now, it's obviously better than nothing, but it kind of irks me more because, as I've said, the UFC have had time to find another opponent, and it kind of sheds a light on how fucking soy the heavyweight division actually is. Let me know what your thoughts are, and again, who you would have liked to see Almeida fight. Alright, so, wow, didn't expect to be doing this. I will be back on Saturday to do the breakdown of the card, unless even more freaky stuff happens. Great Contender Series card last night, really enjoyed that. If you haven't seen it, give it a go. And yeah, have a great end to the week, and I'll see you all for the next one.